Okay, so good morning. My name is Yash Fadia, and today I'll be teaching you about how AI and specifically large language models can support work breakdown structure creation and dependency mapping and do that dynamically. I believe this is one of the most foundational steps in project planning and can also be something that is really frustrating for those beginning learning how to be a PM. I think that my goal from this presentation is in the next 10 minutes to show you how AI can make the creation of work breakdown structures faster, more consistent, and more complete. So, what really is the problem, really, that we're digging into through this presentation? One of the biggest challenges in PM is translating a vague description of a project into a structured and actionable scope with activities that can be assigned to different employees. Students and even experienced PMs often struggle with this. They struggle with figuring out of what the boundaries of the project really look like, how to decompose work to the right level of detail, and ensuring that the most important tasks are not left out accidentally. This can be especially difficult when the project is highly technical, when the requirements of the project are ambiguous, or it is on a new subject matter that the project manager is not familiar with. This could look like a software deployment project, a construction project, or even research initiatives. And because the work breakdown structures shapes the entire schedule and the entire budget, mistakes here can be felt throughout the whole project. So now what exactly is the work breakdown structure? So before talking about how AI can really augment the creation of a work breakdown structure, let's quickly go back to what the definition is. As per the PMBOK, a work breakdown structure is a hierarchical decomposition of the total project scope to deliver the project objectives. A good work breakdown structure will clarify task ownership, reduce the level of confusion overall, and become kind of the foundational cornerstone for scheduling, risk management, resource planning, and budgeting as well. So, before we talk about improving it, let's dive into what the traditional work breakdown structure actually, the traditional process of building one actually looks like. So, traditionally creating a work breakdown structure is an extremely manual process with, aspects like workshops, iterative drafts, interviews with SMEs, and the many common issues that plague this are fact that it's slow, different people have different understandings of how work can be decomposed. Teams often forget tasks that they deem to be obvious and assume that they're already baked into the work breakdown structure without explicitly accounting for time or resources towards it. And novice PMs really don't know where to start in a complicated organization. So this effectively means that it is a time-intensive process that is subject to human oversight and often dependent on expertise in this field, which means that this can lead to inconsistency in quality across projects, which is where exactly AI can come in to help. So large language models, like exactly like ChatGPT, they can take a project description in natural language and generate a structured and hierarchical WBS. They very quickly and efficiently propose a draft WBS, suggest missing phases after looking at an existing WBS or work description. They organize tasks logically based on what the input looks like and what the organizational structure is, and also ensure that it complies with PM box style structures, which means it'll be in compliance with standard requirements of what project management techniques actually look like. So now looking at kind of a conceptual like example for what a work breakdown structure should look like after AI works on it, we're going to look at an example of a website redesign and launch process. So when you put in a prompt onto AI, onto the ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, or whatever form of AI or large language model you're choosing to use, the AI might actually output things like the planning phase, which, planning phase, requirements gathering, things like stakeholder interviews is part of the whole planning phase. When it comes to design, it can look at things like, wireframes, UI UX, development, and sorry, for the design, it's just the wireframes and the UI UX. But then again, it can come into development, which is the more software side of things, look into front end and back end and testing, and also look at the final deployment stage. So in this way, AI outputs kind of like you can see in this pyramid structure, all of the various levels that you would need to put in to that website launch, going from the most basic prototyping stages to kind of the high level, at a high level, the UX design, the front end, to the overall design, and then finally to the website launch. It also breaks it down into different kind of levels or scopes with like the website launch representing the project, which is the total scope. Level two representing the major phases, which are the high level work categories. Level three being the deliverables or the specific components within the phases of the project. And level four, work packages, which is assignable estimated tasks that form the backbone of any good work breakdown structure. So moving on to so now this is one part of that work breakdown structure, which is the activities. But what is also important is mapping out the dependencies, which AI can, do this intelligently. It analyzes the description of activities to propose kind of lags, which is finish to finish, start to finish, and other logical relationships based on its experiences and its training data sets. It can identify risks. It can suggest when paths should be made parallel versus sequential, and also look into kind of that critical path analysis aspect. And also will be able to integrate tools more effectively than a human can. It can put in a work breakdown structure that generates into a format that's most applicable, for example, to Microsoft projects. So it reduces time spent by the human user on actually scheduling the project on external tools. So why is this kind of a benefit? There are five clear reasons that I believe that AI can help with work breakdown structure generation. And the first one is speed. I think the reduction of work breakdown structure creation from days or months to hours will allow the project proposal to be process to be made faster, which allows again more projects to be moved through an organization, more holistic checking, and also allows humans to spend time on not just the manual tasks like filling in the basic tasks, but really looking into the gaps in the output of what AI has created, ensuring more kind of completeness or comprehensive coverage, which minimizes omissions by kind of checking and cross-referencing what AI puts out against the standards of the industry, the company, as well as historical work breakdown structure has been created. I think it also when another ability of AI is to reference past work breakdown structures and past deliverables to understand what the kind of format or template is that the company really expects or that a manager really looks forward to look at reading. And this alignment with deliverables allows, again, saving time, but also a more accurate and well presented, more professional kind of presentation of what a work breakdown structure should look like. But it's also as important as it is that AI has benefits. There are, I think, three critical limitations. And the first being the hallucination risk, where AI may actually generate things that are plausible and things that make sense when you read it one time over. But when you go deeper into it, it actually just comes up with false information, not really based on the source material from the prompts you provided, which means that it does require PM oversight at every level of the process, and that AI is really a starting point and not an automatic planner for the entire work breakdown structure. Moreover, one thing that AI lacks and that human PMs definitely have is that understanding of the domain and the expertise within the field. I think that having industry specific knowledge cannot be replaced by AI. And it is really important when looking at things like technical feasibility, regulatory compliance, and fit into the organization. And then the last thing is contextual blindness. Often, a prompt does not do justice to the environment in which this work breakdown structure or project plan is being brought into. And so, it is really, really important to look at the context before really blindly trusting the AI tool and often editing it to reflect the context that the company or the project team is currently working with it. So, the key takeaway from this project is that AI enhances planning, it accelerates it, reduces the cognitive load for the PMs involved in the project, but it definitely does not replace the judgment of human PMs. Human expertise remains the cornerstone of successful project delivery, proposal, and proposal management. I think that the three main takeaways from the presentation is that, again, like I said earlier, AI enhances efficiency, but it does not replace judgment. Technology does reveal patterns that humans might miss. Again, a key benefit for this. And PMs evolve into kind of more an orchestrating role as opposed to kind of that manual administrative role, allowing them to focus on system level thinking. And to leave you with a quote, the future PM will be a systems thinker working alongside intelligent AI tools. Thank you for listening to my presentation.